Hi, so in this video I'd like to talk about practicing and how to practice. I think a lot of the time, maybe 99% of the time, I'd say that much, music education focuses on what we should practice but never actually goes over how to actually practice, absorb and learn the information that you're being given. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through my kind of daily practice routine just to kind of talk about how I practice. And hopefully, admittedly it is quite a simple routine, but hopefully you can take a little bit from that and kind of use it for your own learning over time. So let's go. So when I start practicing, the first thing I always do, and a lot of people don't do this, but I'm very strict with myself on this. The first thing I always do is start with a technical exercise. Now this can be kind of anything you want. You can make up your own exercises, or you can kind of look for a jazz one. I kind of use I use quite classical ones, so I use Czerny quite a lot. Or right now I've got my trusty Hannon book, but it can be anything. So let me just I'm going to take a Czerny exercise actually just now. So there's this one that he's got which goes like this. So what I do in this technical exercise, and it's the most important part of the practice for me, this actually, because it sets me up for the rest of the practice kind of mentally and muscle-wise as well. It warms up my hands and it just kind of gets me ready to kind of get learning, if that makes sense. So what I do is I start with this particular thing very slowly at a sort of snail's pace. Just kind of as fast as my hands feel like they can go. And the key is making it feel easy. We want to start off by making this exercise as easy as possible, and the main way to do that is making it very slow. And the reason for this is because whenever we're practicing, we're not trying to learn some new hard stuff or like make ourselves more killing musicians. We're trying to make playing our instruments easier and trying to make, you know, the job of playing music, or the fun, the hobby of playing music, whatever it is. We're trying to make that more of an easy thing to do, more effortless, if that makes sense. So when I do this, it makes me very relaxed. I'm thinking as I'm doing it, this is very easy, and then I slowly speed up, all the while thinking that this is easy. And then once I get to a point where I'm like, this is starting to feel a little bit not easy, I stop speeding up and keep going kind of through it. So let me kind of do, this isn't how I'd actually do it. I kind of usually, this takes place, I do a couple of different ones, different exercises, and this takes over about 20 minutes. But let me do like a quick 30-second example. So I go very slow, and it feels easy, so I start to speed up. And then let's say I'm not quite warmed up enough, so this is a fine tempo for me now. And then as I start to warm up, this starts to feel quite easy, so I go a bit faster. Maybe this starts to feel easy, and then this is kind of pushing the comfort of my technique completely. Don't worry too much about the wrong notes. You just want to make sure that your hands are feeling warm and nice. And you're used to this feeling of doing something that might seem hard, but is actually very easy. Just making it feel as effortless as possible. And I do that over a long period of time to make sure I was warmed up. And if I'd done that, I haven't actually practiced today yet, but if I'd done that over a long period of time, I would be able to play that actually much faster because my hands would be warm and they'd be ready, and I'd be kind of really into that exercise. So doing that every day, being really strict to yourself, if I've only got an hour worth of practice, that's all I'll do, just technique exercises, because there's nothing more freeing than being like technically free over your instrument. I think it's really important to remember that. And the sort of key message of this exercise is something I want all of you to make sure that you take into your own practice. And it's that you're practicing to make things easy. It's so important to remember that. I think no matter who you are, no matter what you're practicing, you know, if you're practicing golf or if you're practicing home decorating, you want to make it easy for yourself. And that's the reason why musicians will do so much practice. That's the reason Daniel Barenboim, one of the world's greatest classical pianists, the reason he'll practice all day isn't so he can do more difficult stuff. He's trying to make Beethoven's Seventh Sonata a bit easier for him to perform to an audience, so when he gets to perform for them, it's very easy. So that's kind of my main message, and that's kind of my main point actually, that kind of after I've done my main technical exercise, I can kind of go wherever. That gives me the ability to kind of be creative about what I'm practicing. But generally, as a rule, I like to stick to something that I learned about quite a few years ago now, and I've used it on and off, but most of the time I've used it to, I think, good effect. This is something called the random practice technique. So what you do is you take 3 things that you want to practice. So maybe I'd take like a bit of a classical piece, I'd take a standard, and then I'd take something that I've written myself that I'm finding a bit hard. So let's say I'm taking Beethoven's. This is Beethoven's 24th Sonata. And then let's say I'm practicing giant steps, because I do practice that a lot actually. It's helpful for me. But let's say I'm practicing giant steps. So. And then let's say I'm practicing this like little idea like it. So those are 3 things that I want to get more comfortable with. So what I'll do, and this has been scientifically proven. They did it with baseball players, but this has been scientifically proven to be an effective way to learn things. So rather than, let's say my Beethoven, rather than doing that continuously for 2 hours, if I do it on and off, my brain kind of resets, so by the time I come back to it, it's fresh. So I'll do the Beethoven for 3 or 4 minutes, sometimes kind of going up to 10 minutes. Right now I'm doing on a kind of 10-minute thing, so I can go a bit deeper into the thing before I have to move on. But so I'll do this I'll set on the timer basically, do this for a bit. And then I'll set on the timer for a bit and practice just something to do with giant steps. And this is, again, what's not important is what I'm practicing. What's important is how I'm practicing it. I'm practicing it in a focused, disciplined manner. I'll be practicing giant steps, I'm sure, for years, but it's something that you want to practice things until you make them easy. So I'm practicing giant steps to make it easy. And notice that I'm not going. Notice that I'm not just mindlessly playing through it, I'm actually going. I'm trying to make it comfortable for myself and just playing through it at a tempo that feels comfortable, but I'm not 100%, I can't just sit back and relax and do that. I've got to think about it. But I'm not trying to push myself too hard. It's like, almost like going, if I can play giant steps at like a 6 out of 10 score, I'm trying to play it at a 7 out of 10 thing, just to push what my natural ability is, just ever so slightly. Then the same thing with my original composition idea. But you don't have to practice classical original. You know, you can take any three things and do them in this way. But I think the most important thing to take away from what I've said today is practice things to make them easy. Don't practice one thing for just 2 hours mindlessly. Switch it up a little bit every 5-10 minutes or something. And make sure that you're not practicing at absolute full throttle. You want to just be practicing slightly ahead of where it actually feels comfortable, and that's how you build up your comfort over things. I hope that was helpful. I think it's important to note that David's going to do one of these videos about practicing, and Joe is as well. and I think we'll very likely make three very different videos, and just make sure that you take what you like from each video. You don't have to do my routine at all. You could have hated this video, that's absolutely fine with me, it doesn't affect my practice routine. But what's important is that you kind of make up your own mind and kind of absorb the information that's given by Dave and Joe. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully it was helpful. Again, like I've said at the end of most videos, if you want to get in touch, if you want to ask any questions, please do. I'll be here to answer them. But yeah, thanks very much, and see you in the next video. Happy practicing!